At Operation World Without Cancer, we believe true healing starts with knowledge and the freedom to choose your own path. In a world clouded by conventional wisdom, we're uncovering natural health strategies long kept in the shadows, bringing hope, truth, and a vision for a world without cancer. Welcome to Hidden Healings Uncensored. All right, everybody, I'm really excited today. We have my friend who I haven't seen in a while. I think we saw each other last time at a Cancer Control Society event, but Francisco Contreras. We were just talking about previous to the show how we've known each other for many years through our fathers working together and fighting this battle. So he is the head of the Oasis of Hope Hospital. He's a distinguished surgical oncologist. Dr. Contreras is renowned for combining conventional therapies and alternative medical treatments with emotional and spiritual support to provide patients with the most positive treatment experience possible. He's had tremendous results. He's authored numerous books concerning integrative therapy, cancer and heart disease prevention, and chronic illness. I have one of your books in my library, including The Hope of Living Cancer-Free, The Hope of Living Long and Well, Beating Cancer, and Dismantling Cancer. His newest book, The Art and Sciences of Undermining Cancer, was released in October 2020. So in addition to writing for medical journals, Dr. Contreras has participated in medical conferences such as World Conference on Breast Cancer and is active in the Cancer Control Society. He has addressed governmental organizations, including the Georgia House of Representatives Health Policy. We all remember our friend, the doctor who was in the Congress, Larry McDonald. Do you remember Larry McDonald?
Yes.
Okay, so we had a strange story just happen. A lady that had lunch with him before he got on flight 007. That was his friend in Georgia. Was just in my office a week ago. Kind of a small world story, but anyway, he has spoken to the Georgia House of Representatives Health Policy Task Force and the Japanese Medical Association, all of which we know the Japanese use natural health, and they're big with the Cancer Control Society. He has also been on special assignment to Slovakia as a member of the Mexican Health Advisory Board. Wow, that is quite the resume. I know there's so much more that we can't talk about because you're a humble man as well. But thank you for being here, and tell our audience on Hidden Healings Uncensored, which is on the Braveheart Network and also on Rumble. And we're trying to get it out there onto YouTube, but they keep censoring us. But anyway, we have a whole bunch of platforms. Tell our audience a little bit about yourself, Dr. Contreras. And again, my pleasure having you here.
Well, John, thank you very much. It's an honor to be with you. So my father founded the Oasis of Hope in 1963. And so I was still in school, and then I trained in medical school in Mexico, pre-med in America, and then I did my surgical training for 5 years in Vienna, Austria, and then came back to work with my father because I was convinced, even before going to Vienna, that an integrative approach was the best way to treat cancer patients, but especially not forgetting that cancer patients have very, very profound needs spiritually and emotionally. And when you provide the medical care together with emotional and spiritual resources, you have much better results. We have used a combination of conventional and alternative therapies since the beginning, and we continue to do now. But for the last 15 years, we have now introduced a very potent immune therapy to our protocol with many alternatives such as vitamin B17, vitamin C, hyperthermia, ozone therapy, and many nutrients that will help cancer patients fight their tumors and improve their immune system. But our dendritic cell-based immunotherapy has proven to be very effective and made a major improvement in our overall results. And so we have continued to work with this live cell therapy here at the hospital. And we have a very sophisticated state-of-the-art laboratory where we prepare those cells for our patients. There's newer things coming. So we're hoping to be prepared to do, for instance, CAR T cells in about a year and a half. We have the personnel that are capable to do these very complicated processes, but the devices, the toys that you need to produce them are extremely expensive. So we have our piggy thing where we're putting, saving our money so that we can
a little percentage. You're tithing to your own equipment purchases. I like that. So
yes.
the impact program, I'm in reading what's going on before the show, the impact program is really interesting to me, and that's a personalized is it autologous?
Autologous, meaning that we prepare the vaccines and these immunotherapies from the patient's own blood or own tumor.
Wow. So I know you're familiar with urine therapy, but that's much of the reason why they say that urine therapy works, because your body's kind of preparing those things for you. So, but you're using it from people's blood. You're taking a blood sample and then you're creating that. So describe that to the audience and explain what exactly that is.
So what we do is we draw blood from a patient, about 50 to 75 cc's, and we separate several cells from that blood. So we separate monocytes, we separate tumor circulating cells, and we separate a number of white cells that are very specific to fight cancer, like natural killer cells. Once we have those, we will convert the monocytes into dendritic cells. Now, dendritic cells are very important in the immune system, although they don't destroy anything, they don't kill anything, but they orchestrate attacks by presenting antigens. In fact, the technical name for the dendritic cells are antigen presenting cells. And what that means is that they detect the foe, let's say a bacteria or a virus, and then obtain the antigen from that foe and determine from that which part of the immune system is best suited to attack that enemy. And,
wow.
and that's the activity of dendritic cells. Now, cancer cells, because they arise from normal tissue, at the beginning, the immune system does not see them as foe, so it never asks anybody to attack them.
So, not to get sidetracked you, but the theory of the trophoblastic theory of cancer, I don't want to get way off right now while you're talking about dendritics, but do you subscribe to that theory, the trophoblastic theory? Okay. So
yes, because
the cells are originally healing cells, but then they go off on their own.
Exactly. They mutate and they convert into malignant cells, but from normal cells.
Right, exactly.
And then as the tumors organize, they recruit tumor regulating or immune regulating cells, meaning that they shield themselves from the immune system and they virtually make the immune system blind. So by obtaining antigens from the tumor circulating cells, we activate the dendritic cells with these antigens, and now they're able to see them. So we virtually remove the blindfold from the immune system, and now the immune system says, oh my God, there's a cancer there, and I have an army ready to attack tumors. And they present the antigen to the natural killer cells, and they attack them. Now, from the cells, we also obtain natural killer cells and other lymphocytes that activated can attack tumor cells. So we activate these lymphokine activated or lymphokine cells with natural killer cells, and these will need no presentation. So we have two ways of attacking the tumor. That's the most typical impact protocol that we do. But there are other protocols that we can do for tumors that are more difficult to treat, more aggressive, or for patients that come with just a lot of tumor activity and they need a more potent impact against their tumor.
So this is an individualized therapy that's not a one size fits all. But what percentage of people are coming to your clinic that are coming for the first time or finding about your clinic and not having gone through chemo, radiation, and surgery? Is that
it's a very low number, maybe 10, 15% at the most. So most of our patients are coming here really as a last resource. Yeah, so once they hit the wall, then they start looking really for alternatives, and that's when they find us. But the patients that come here, version to treatment, those are the ones that respond the best.
Yeah, that part of the history hasn't changed, because Dad said, 50 years ago that he would have an 80 to 90. He pegged it at 86% success rate with somebody that came to him as the first option, but like about a 16% success rate for someone that came to him as the last option. And, and Ed Griffin in the book World Without Cancer says, that's a great percentage really, because, 16% is better than zero, but it's a system that I'm working hard to change. I am really involved in the US in having a system where people can go for an urgent problem. They have an urgent problem for the first time, and they get all of these things laid out to them. Hey, we have chemotherapy and we have radiation surgery, and here's what it costs for that, and here's the results we've had, and here we have the immunotherapy, we have the therapy you just described. Let me make sure impact. And here's the thing, and here's the side effects if there are any. So if you were to be presenting the impact therapy to somebody that is looking at all these things, talk to me a little bit about the success rates or the side effects or the lack thereof of impact therapy.
Before I do that, you mentioned that you're very involved in this, and hopefully with this administration and Bobby Kennedy, maybe hopefully the spectrum of the possibilities for people that the government approves is going to broaden, and that's going to be very, very positive, especially for cancer patients.
It is, and it's happening as we speak. I'm part of the Global Wellness Forum, which is the replacement for the WHO. In the U.S., we got out of the WHO.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, great.
And I'm on the Global Wellness Forum as the part of the integrative cancer, the natural cancer solutions, because you mentioned the Cancer Control Society. I have the 60 years of history in my warehouse. I invite you up to come look. I know I have your books in there, and I know I have speeches that you or your father gave at the events. I have videotapes of my dad. I'm in control of this, and I'm not trying to hold it to myself. I want the world to know about it. And I'm telling the Global Wellness Forum, I have this. I want to get it out there. There's been a lot of natural treatments that have been covered up. Bobby Kennedy had me on his podcast, Dr. Contreras.
Oh, wow.
Yes, I was scheduled to be on it. And he knows who I am. He knows about this story, and I'm part of the Global Wellness Forum, which is not a bragging thing in any way, shape, or form. It's just that I happen to be the guy that was the son of Dr. Richardson, who was friends with the original Dr. Contreras, who was up on my wall in newspaper articles saying, I believe, wasn't your father involved with Steve McQueen's treatments?
Yes.
Yes, I have the articles where he said Steve McQueen was cancer-free. I have the books from Dr. Donald that said, Donnelly, I think his name is, that said that Steve McQueen was murdered. So again, this is not about me. My audience has heard that. He was murdered after he was cured by your father at your clinic, by the way. So, and Rick Hill now works for me, as you know. So,
wonderful.
Wonderful. We are.
Well, anything that I can do to support you, I just
and vice versa. I want to have your clinic be a recommended clinic through us that we tell people about. So that's what I'm on this network, the Braveheart Nation, with Dr. Wolf, and he's also in Mexico. Dr. Wolf came from Canada. Do you know Daryl Wolf?
No, okay. I don't.
Well, he's the one that formed this this network that my show is on. He's an amazing human being. You'll love to meet him. And he's in Ixtapa and Cehuateneo. He has a clinic.
It's a beautiful place.
It is. I went there and visited. I want to go again. It was gorgeous. But getting off the subject, I want to. So, if there's anything else you want to ask me, because you and I haven't.
Then let me answer your question. Let's begin by side effects.
Yeah.
The side effects of impact are minimal because it's the patient's own cells.
Right.
Okay. So the only side effects are from the chemicals used in expanding the cells. For those of your listeners that don't know what I'm talking about, the expansion of the cells is a reproduction or cloning of the cells. So from 100,000 monocytes, we obtain about 10 million dendritic cells that will go then and present the antigens of the tumors to the natural killer cells. It's such a massive attack. So there's no side effects. In the new technologies come often, and so now we're able to cleanse those chemicals much better than we did before. So we're not worried about side effects. Now, results. In stage 4 cancers, where we have been able to do prospective clinical trials, in breast cancer, our 5-year survival rate is 50% in comparison to about 16%. And now you also have to take into consideration that 16% were with vision patients to treatment.
Right.
Ours those are the ones that where the therapy failed them.
Right.
And they come, to us in very, very poor shape.
Yes.
So 50% is massive.
It's
when
massive.
the patients come virgin to treatment is about 75% in stage 4.
Wow.
5-year survival rate.
Yeah.
And so in about all of the, we were able to do breast cancer, ovarian cancer, lung cancer, and colon cancer.
So
In all of them.
What percentage of these women are getting their mastectomies? Is there any? Do you have that kind of?
Most of them already came after surgery, radiation, and chemotherapy.
Wow.
Okay. So
that's my passion, to try to save that, to reverse that.
So we're able to rescue a very high percentage of those women. Now, for your audience, if you've never heard of dendritic cell-based therapies, this was developed in America. In fact, the developer obtained a Nobel Prize of Medicine for that invention. And in America, they're still doing clinical trials. And the problem is that because this is a very individualized protocol, it cannot be produced in mass for mass distribution. And so there's virtually no money to be made. And I think that's one of the biggest hurdles, because they want to convert it into a drug.
Right, exactly.
So they want to have a vaccine for breast cancer.
Yep.
And then offer it to all breast cancer women. And that's not going to work because
if we understand the root,
very different.
Yes,
from
we understand
patient
the
to patient.
So
that's never going to work. I think they finally approved it for pancreatic cancer, but again, it's not the same as it was designed. And I think that it's unfortunate that people have to come to Mexico to get this vaccine instead of America. Now, the question that many ask, why is it that it's approved in Mexico and not in America? And common sense came to the Mexican government about 15 years ago, which is very rare. And they said, well, if you need, in order to get approved for something, you need to prove efficacy and safety. And the biggest problem is safety.
Yeah,
right?
Of course.
It may take thousands of patients and decades to determine if something is safe or not. And that's the biggest hurdle. But the government said, well, this has been proven to be efficient. And why should we do safety studies if it's from the blood of the patient and it's just going to be given to that patient and to anybody else? And so they opened up the possibility of doing dendritic cell-based vaccine vaccines or therapies, immunotherapies here in Mexico now for over 12 years.
Yeah, that's just like the history of Laetrile therapy in Mexico. That for back when Rick Hill went to your clinic,
Yes.
50 years ago, Laetrile therapy wasn't as readily available in the U.S. My dad was doing it, but he had to keep it under key. And Dr. Privatera,
Yes.
yeah, he had to keep it hidden, and then they went after Dad's license. So he only spent about 6 or 7 years treating 6,000 patients with Laetrile in the early 70s, and then he lost his license and had to move to. We had to commute to Nevada. So doctors in America, Dr. Binzel was the same thing. So at least as far as freedom of choice in medicine, you've got so much more experience in Mexico because somebody in the Mexican government's decided, hey, we want people to be healthier. And so in general, the general Mexican population, my dad always said, that has the proper original Spanish diet has a lower incidence of cancer in general anyway.
No question about it.
So, some of those things are natural, but it's a great thing about Mexico. And I have a special place for Mexico, a special heart for Mexico, because I spent a lot of time there. And, it was always considered to me a freedom country when it came to health and medicine. So it's good that you're doing it and the clinics are there. And like I said, I recommend people consider it as a first option. Some of these clinics, especially since you're still doing Laetrile therapy, which is my
it's still a big part of our protocol. So we have the immune therapy on one side, and we have what it's called the metabolic therapy on the other side, because tumors have a very few common denominating factors that you can attack. So, for instance, all tumors, breast cancer, colon cancer, brain cancer, they all need a lot of sugar. That's a common denominating factor. All tumors are hypoxic. All tumors are very liable to heat. All tumors, whether, again, it comes from the prostate or sarcomas or melanomas, they all have a high pH within the structure of the tumor. And so these are common denominating metabolic factors that we can attack without being so aggressive as chemotherapy or radiation are. And so we attack the cancer from both sides, the metabolic side and the immune therapy. And Laetrile continues to be a big part of our therapy.
And now, so you've been doing this using Laetrile since probably the 70s or maybe even before that. And so how have you seen, my dad, when in his clinic, he saw, a great reaction to Laetrile, but along with the enzymes was a very important part of Dad's, and the B15 and also the change of diet. But how have you seen cancer change in the last 50 years to where, now we have vaccines, like the COVID-19 vaccine, we have 5G, we have all these, poisons are spraying on us and all these different things. I don't know about all those things as much as I know about B17, but I do see that people, when they present with cancer now, it seems like it takes additional therapies in today's world than it did back 50 years ago. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. How have you seen that change, the treatment of cancer?
Well, the first thing is that as my father was seeing up to 25% response in patients, even when they had chemotherapy before or radiation therapy.
Oh, wow.
Here. And so when I came back from Vienna to work with my dad, we were very excited because the results from chemotherapy are around 2%.
Yeah.
And so, this is a massive improvement, but we were excited, but I told my father, well, what are we going to do about 75%? That 75% that we are not being in. And so we've always tried to continue to strive for that percentage of people. And that's why our therapy has evolved from Laetrile to Laetrile plus enzymes, to Laetrile plus diet, to Laetrile plus other elements. And so we've increased the amount of those metabolic therapies that I mentioned to you, hyperthermia, ozone, vitamin C in high dosages is very effective. And then nutritionally, there's so much information about how nutrients can achieve the same goals as targeted therapies at a fraction of the cost. The thing is that in order for you to do that, the amount of nutrients that you have to flood the system with is massive. And that is very complicated to do. So a few years back, we started working with nanoparticles. And nanoparticles are absorbed phenomenally. And so now with small amounts of liquids, we're able to provide our patients into the plasma very high amounts of nutrients that actually impact tumors very similarly to targeted therapies, again, at a fraction of the cost.
Yeah.
And so we never stop looking for new things, and the literature just comes up with very good ideas. Now, cancer has become more aggressive with time, and younger people are developing tumors that we never saw before. I can tell you that 20 years ago, we would see maybe 1 or 2 pancreatic patients a year. Now it's a month. So more aggressive tumors. And unfortunately, since the COVID, I don't know if it's COVID or the vaccine or a combination of both,
Right.
we are seeing younger and younger patients with very aggressive tumors. I mean, a 16-year-old with an extremely aggressive colon cancer. I've never seen that in my life. We had a 13-year-old with uterine cancer. 13. So I yes.
And you do a large medical history on these children, trying to find out what the causes are. Can we talk about
all of these were vaccinated?
So
whether it's a common denominating factor. I'm sorry to say.
Yeah, and that's, we can't on this network, we can say that because we're not censored by anybody. We're on the Braveheart Nation, so we're not censored. And none of my 11 children have ever been vaccinated. You
have 11 children?
Yes, I have 11 children.
You are doing the right thing. I have 5, and I thought that I had many.
Oh yeah, well that is because the truth. Let me be transparent. I had 6 of my own. My wife had 5 of her own. None of her kids were vaccinated. None of mine were vaccinated. So we thought, okay, that's a match made in heaven. And this is our second marriages. My first wife passed away, unfortunately. So our second marriage, we have 11 children together. So it's
wonderful.
Yeah.
So I also didn't vaccinate any of my children. They were all adults, and they make the decision because I said, this doesn't make sense to me. It just doesn't make sense to me. And so I didn't vaccinate. And we were a hostage. So we traveled only to places where they didn't require the vaccine. And so we went to places that we never went before. So it was a blessing.
We were finding all sorts of solutions. I had doctors that were MDs that said, yes, I can give you a vaccine card because I give you vaccines with nutrients. So, I was hunting those people out. So we all, if we needed them, we didn't let it stop us. We got a vaccine card that, was signed and whatever, but never, when I never got the big pharma, what's in the tube vaccines for any of our kids, but they all played, went to public school in California and played school.
It's complicated.
Yeah, it's complicated.
John, whether the vaccine is playing a role or not is besides the point. The fact is that cancer has become more aggressive and it's attacking younger people.
Yep, we're seeing the same thing. I know we're not a clinic, but we see the same thing, and the people that are coming to us. I just spoke to a 35-year-old beautiful woman who eats natural foods and does takes care of herself, and she's been diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer, and so it gets down to you've talked about it, the emotions, trauma, spiritual beliefs. That's an important thing as well. And we're finding this in this time we live. It's like a battle between good and evil. What say you? What do you say is the role of emotions and trauma and spiritual?
I think it's major. Listen, we've been accused of selling false hope, and the question is, well, if we're selling false hope, what is true hope?
Yeah.
You're dead in 3 months,
right?
You're in 6 months if you don't take chemotherapy. Blah blah. Well, no, there's either hope or no hope.
Right. There isn't hope. There isn't false hope. I hate that term. Hope.
Right. So hope
kept people alive. I know people have prayed themselves to health.
My contention is, if we have to do double-blind studies to determine objectivity, why do you do a double-blind study or a blind study at all? Well, to take away the power of the mind in order for you to be effective. And you do the double blind to take away the power of the mind of the doctor influencing you. So if that is so powerful, instead of looking for more drugs, well, I'm looking for the power of the mind. And unashamedly, I brainwash my patients.
That's the way it should be. They should be thinking.
The Greeks were doing it already 300 years before Christ. In the first hospital ever built 300 years before Christ, it was a temple of Asclepius, of the god of medicine. The patients would arrive to the temple and more or less be evaluated spiritually. Then they went to the treatment center and be evaluated physically. And then every day they have to walk through a tunnel. The tunnel is still there in the ruins, okay? And the tunnel was completely dark to the patients. They had to walk back and forth. And unbeknownst to the patients, there were people on the top of the tunnel, and there were holes there, and they were telling them, you're going to be fine. You're going to be healed. And the patients thought that it was the gods. And they had wonderful results. And they were just being brainwashed. Why don't we do it now? So, it's the same effort to tell the patient, hey, you're dead, or hey, listen, while there's life, there's hope.
Yes, yeah.
Why not go for it?
It makes no sense not to. We're human beings. Hope is empowering. Prayer is empowering. Trying to find out what the traumas you've had in the past and getting rid of them is empowering. And so I believe a truly integrative practice should include those things.
And there are so many published reports on the impact that these emotions have on your immune system, right? So there's a study that shows that for every minute of anger, your immune system is depressed by 6 minutes. 6 hours. And who's mad for 1 minute?
Yeah, nobody.
It's impossible. So you're depressing your immune system constantly. And on the flip side, for every minute of laughter, you improve your immune system for 24 hours. So we provide our patients with emotional and spiritual support. Why? Because the stronger you are spiritually, the more functional your emotional responses are going to be. And thus the patients do better.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so why not? And that's the reason why we're called the Oasis of Hope. Is a patient of my dad that came in the late 60s from Italy. He was given 6 months to live, gave him lateral, virtually just lateral, and died, went back home. 5 years later, he comes back with a present, completely tumor-free to my dad, and says, Doctor, I'm giving you this present because this is an Oasis of Hope. And so he gave us the name, and that's why we call the Oasis of Hope.
The gift is probably unconsequential, but the gift of that name, it is a fabulous, wonderful name. It pops in my mind all the time. I can't wait to come visit again. I know I've been there several times as a kid. I know I've been there as an adult, but I want to come back and visit. I know.
Please do.
Yes, I will. And we were scheduled. I believe we were scheduled to have dinner with at some event, and I I had my personal problems, but I want to get to, because we don't have a whole lot of time left, but I want to get to what it's like for a patient, recognizing your integrative approach and what they do. What is it like for a patient from being diagnosed to being treated at your clinic? Walk us through that, what a patient would expect if they came to Oasis of Hope.
So I think the first thing, obviously, there's always like a shock, especially when the first time outside of their country and they're coming to Mexico and they feel that they're coming from a first world country to a third world country. And it's like, it doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
And then they're more or less waiting for the quacks to take care of them. And so it's always a shock. And then when they see this place and they see the professionality, but especially the warmth of the Mexican people, which and it's a difference. Our first objective is to convert our patients from victims to victors.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And so that sets, the tone for the rest of their stay. So they're evaluated, as I said, like the Greeks do. They're evaluated physically very thoroughly. We have a pastor full-time here where we evaluate our patients spiritually. We have a psychologist full-time that evaluates them emotionally. And then we do this combination of metabolic and immunotherapy to our patients. And usually the stays between 2 and 3 weeks for the first time. And the evaluation is very effective.
Is there any inpatient stay at that?
All of our patients are inpatient.
Oh, okay.
Well, I would maybe 10%, especially the patients that come for the second time. And if we don't have any more room, they will stay in hotels nearby.
Okay.
But just about everybody is inpatient, stays with
us.
us.
Do you control their diet? Do you help control their diet?
Completely.
Okay.
And we not only that, we teach them, there's cooking lessons and also nutritional lessons, so they understand why is it that they have to make these changes to attack the tumor. And then they learn how to cook these foods. Now, we spend a lot of time and money and effort in developing with nutritionists, with chefs, with doctors, a doable diet. Because, for instance, everything was started by the Gerson with this idea, and I think they work correctly in everything. But after about 3 months of doing the Gerson, most people say, if this is what I have to do, I'd rather die. It's just so impossible.
Right.
And so we came to the conclusion many years ago that the best diet is the one that you can do. And so we're more lenient with the diet because we do not depend 100% of the diet to resolve the issue. Right. But because emotionally diet is so important, if you're so stressed, then you're counteracting. So our diet is very lenient. And so patients usually see that we have a very happy, positive, hopeful environment. And that changes everything for them.
That's perfect, and it's amazing. And so have you done any kind of, in the last several years, have you done any retrospectives, look at your patients, doing any kind of statistics and your percentages and things like that?
So I mentioned to you the prospective studies. Retrospectives are frowned upon, but they do help us tremendously because we don't have the money to do prospective clinical trials. They're very expensive. They're very complicated. And we're a small enterprise.
Yeah.
But retrospectively, about every 5 years, we review our charts. And I can tell you that all tumors, all stages, more or less is around 37% 5-year survival rate, which is,
that's strong
to write home about.
Yeah,
a lot of people say, oh my God, 4 out of 10. Well, again, with chemotherapy, it's 2 out of 10, right, and usually destroy the quality of life.
Yeah, well, it's actually two out of 100 with chemotherapy. It's two. Their percentage rates are so low they don't even like to talk about them. Many times I ask people that say they've been diagnosed. I say, well, before you do these therapies, get the doctor's retrospectives or even their future what they say percentage wise. But they always say, well, it depends on a lot of factors. It depends on a lot of factors and things that you have to do. Well, their own published studies say they have a 6% survival rate of 5 years. And what is a survival rate for someone like me that was recently diagnosed with colon cancer that I didn't have, by the way? I was diagnosed in a U.S. hospital. That's what just happened to me 40 days ago. And I can say it quite simply. I did not have colon cancer, but that's what they diagnosed me with. And they wanted to remove half my colon. Now, this is John Richardson, the son of Dr. Richardson. I've been taking B17 my whole life. I am 100% back to normal now. I had a blockage in my colon that probably came from bentonite clay and celiac husk that I was doing to myself. And I'm putting that story out there to say to people a cautionary tale. They wanted to remove half of my colon. If I wasn't John Richardson, they probably would have done it. I would have had to connect a large piece of my colon to a small piece. And that would have been that's their only response, Dr. Contreras. The only thing that they would offer me in the U.S. hospital was surgery, chemotherapy, radiation. There was no integrative therapy. It was, you got to have surgery in 2 days or you'll be dead in 10. And that's 40 days and 40 nights ago. I'm completely healthy. People heard about the scare. John has cancer. That's what they said. That's what they say sometimes. And I'm sure you've seen some people come to you that were misdiagnosed. They were told they have cancer. Maybe they had, ulcerative colitis, or, maybe they had, some kind of, other infection or other thing going on that they're so readily predisposed to diagnosing patients with cancer because the surgeries are so profitable. So like you said, you can't afford to do all these studies in the natural world because we don't charge the $200,000 for an injection of Laetrile. Nobody does that. It's a food product. So what the good news is that we have a direct connect now with the NIH with $47 billion with a B dollars in research money for our side of the equation, Dr. Contreras. And
that's wonderful.
And I'm going to hook you guys up with, over this next period of time, I'm going to hook you guys up with the ways to get that approved so we can do the studies and fund the studies to find out about the dendritic treatments, or ozone treatment, or of course B17. B17 has always been demonized by them, but we've had so much. I have to get you a copy of Dr.
There's so many new studies about the actions of B17 that we didn't know at the beginning.
Right.
It has an apoptotic effect. It has an anti-inflammatory effect. It's just a wonderful product.
Yeah, we actually have a whole bunch of studies I'm going to make sure you get that Dr. Orley was a researcher friend, was able to put together that really opens the eyes. And because of the demonization, that was the one, what you and I, if anybody knows what doctors went through. I think your dad was on trial with my father. Weren't they on trial together?
Yes.
Yeah. And this, here I can tell you on this podcast, my dad manufactured his B17 in his basement.
Really?
Yes. And nobody knew that. And he never smuggled. He manufactured in his basement. My brother told me that, but they were hush hush, couldn't tell anybody back in the 70s because they were afraid of being raided at the clinic. So, whether or not dad smuggled Laetrile, which is a joke, a natural product, it was what the whole case was about. This is a natural product that the NIH said over 200,000 people have been injected with. We have that in documentation, and not one case of poisoning with it out of 200,000. Yeah. So whether Laetrile is the silver bullet, no, we're not, and especially in this world we live in, it's a integrative approach that brings in all the things that Dr. does, including prayer. Now, they've done studies at the NIH, Dr. Contreras, that said prayer helps people healthy. It's been documented. They've done studies. So for people to go, oh, that's hocus pocus, or that's whatever, you can now put that away in your drawer. It's not. It's real. Having belief that you're going to heal actually helps you heal.
Correct.
So it's not a false hope. It's actual real hope. And that's part of any treatment plan.
And if you believe that you're going to die, you will die.
Absolutely, no question about it. And you've seen that in what you're doing. I've seen it. I've seen people die within 7 days that should have survived ages just because they've just thought, oh, it's doomsday. This is it for me. And they're gone in 7 days. The cancer just riddles their whole body because it's like they've given up and their immune system just stops working. So anyway, I'm so thankful that you got in here. I can't wait to catch up more. We have a couple minutes left. So I want people to know where to find out more about your clinic, Oasis of Hope, how to get connected with you and your staff down there at Oasis of Hope.
So our website is oasisofhope.com, and please visit the website, and there you will be guided on how to get in touch with us. We offer all visitors a free consultation with a doctor about your case. We will evaluate your case and give you a recommendation. Our number is 888-500-HOPE.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's wonderful. And so where is it located? Is it in Tijuana?
We are in Tijuana, in Playas de Tijuana, very close to San Diego, California. Most of our patients fly to San Diego. We pick them up at the airport, and then we'll take them back when they're done.
So it's super easy. They need a passport. Not
no,
much else.
Americans do not need a passport. We will take them through customs because when they stay more than 15 days, they need a permit. It's never enforced, but we want to do things correctly. We don't want any Americans to be deported. and so we do things by the book, and the patients are here. It's, Mexico has a bad rap, but all the war is between the bad people. It's here. We've never had an incident. Patients, we're very close to the beach and very close to Walmart, and they walk to the beach or Walmart or whatever. Sometimes they sneak out to get some tacos.
Off their suggested diet. We all know my dad said everything in moderation. You follow it as best you can, but you still have to live your life. And there's certain things that are way worse for you, like smoking or alcohol consumption when you're trying to go to the treatment. Some of those you really want to stop doing. Coffee is one that's one that you really want to stop doing, and we can do that, and we can find substitutions for things. And I'm not drinking any alcohol at all right now, and I went and got a drink that satisfied that craving just with no alcohol in it, so there's those substitutions you can do. So I will vouch for absolutely. Mexico is a great place. You make the best of it as you will. What's going on, and all this stuff that we see going on between ICE and deporting people is all kind of created to keep us all battling each other. But I have a special place in my heart for Mexico and Mexicans and the diet, and it's my dad practiced there, and I like visiting there. So it's a low risk thing to call up Oasis of Hope and get a consultation. Even go visit, check it out, and make your decision. So, and see the results. So thank you, Dr. Contreras. Thank you. God bless you. I appreciate you being on today. Is there any closing statement you'd like to say to the folks on Hidden Healings Uncensored?
Cancer is not necessarily a death sentence. There are many, many treatment options that are very effective. And if you or a loved one is going through these turbulent times with cancer, don't hesitate to give us a call, and we'll give you a recommendation.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Doctor.
Yes, John. Thank you very much.
Thank you.